Hey guys, what's going on? Sherman here. I have another knife to review for you guys today. Today we're going to be taking a look at the H&K Plan D. Now the Plan D is a self-defense styled knife, and the purpose of it is to be carried on your weak side opposite of your firearm for weapon retention. Meaning that you're carrying this on the opposite side that you'd carry a firearm, and if you're trying to draw your firearm in self-defense and somebody's trying to grab you and keep you from drawing it, carry this on your weak side, draw the knife, and to be able to fight them away from you to be able to get to your primary self-defense tool, which should be your handgun. So this is designed to be a secondary self-defense option, but of course, like many knives, it has many different purposes and applications. I have been carrying this for several weeks at work as a utility slash primary self-defense blade, because I do not carry my firearm at work. You guys know I have my Glock 42. It's very easy to conceal, but I just don't carry at work. So this is my kind of primary source of self-defense and a backup utility blade. I carry a box cutter at work, but it gets dull. This will cut through shrink wrapping, box tape, boxes. Like nobody's business. Alright, so a lot of you guys will notice right off the bat the similarities this knife has with the K-Bar TDI. And it is kind of H&K's, or Benchmade's I should say, take on the K-Bar TDI. I love the TDI knives. This knife just gives me a little bit more of what I wanted. I consider this as a TDI upgrade. You get the TDI design, which is an awesome design, very functional, very practical, but they've improved upon it a little bit and just really tweaking the design just a little bit, making it a little bit better and adding a little bit better materials. A little bit of added price, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm going to give you guys the technical specs. The overall length of this knife is 5.65 inches. The blade length is 2.60 inches, measuring from the tip of the scale to the tip of the knife. Tip of the blade. The weight of this knife, which is kind of misleading because on every website I've looked, it is weighed as just the blade itself. But obviously you can't just carry a fixed blade without the sheath. You've got to have the sheath. And they don't weigh this knife and a lot of fixed blades with the sheath. But anyway, the weight of this of just the knife without the sheath is 2.3 ounces. So very light, but as you can see, it is a pretty small knife. And the weight with the sheath is 4.2 ounces. Still very reasonable. That's about the weight of most folders. Just something to consider, that when you read the weight online, it's usually always going to be weighed without the sheath. But very reasonable, but it is kind of a heavy sheath. The blade steel on this knife is Böhler N680, which is a German steel made by Böhler. And it is a stainless steel, great for corrosion resistance, pitting. It's pitting resistant, kind of comparable to Spyderco's H1. Not quite as corrosion resistant as that, but it's a really good stainless steel. 57 to 59 Rockwell, and it came razor sharp right out of the box. But I'll post a link in the description to Böhler's website. You can read up on some on N680 steel. I love it. So far, I've had great experience with it. I have a little bit of experience with N690 CO, which a lot of people would have experience with if you're familiar with combative edge knives, Fox knives. I think some Benchmades are even using N690 CO, and it is an excellent steel. So this is a little bit softer than that, but still a steel upgrade from the AUS 8 steel that the K-Bar TDI uses. So I'm really glad they went with such a corrosion resistant steel, considering that this knife is intended to be worn daily for self-defense. It can be pressed up against your body. You know, in the heat of summer, sweat, moisture, you're out at the lake, whatever you're doing, you know, this knife is always going to be, is probably going to be subjected to moisture every day, depending on what you're doing. So that is really good that it's so corrosion resistant. It also helps that it has that nice black coating. You see, of course, full tang construction. The handle scales are Grivery, which Cold Steel used for the longest time in their Nightshade series of knives. It's basically a glorified FRN. It is a little bit harder than FRN. A little bit more fiberglass, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what the mixture is, but it is a little bit harder than traditional FRN. The scales are removable if you want to just remove them. Maybe wrap the handle yourself. It'd be kind of hard. If I remember correctly, I don't think it's skeletonized. You can remove the scales, clean out from under it, or I even might take the scales off and spray paint them, but not sure yet. But anyway, yeah, you can take them off. The one modification I had to make, and I'm not sure if this is with every Plan D, obviously because I have only owned this one, but the edges were really rough. As you can see, the scales don't meet up with the tang. They don't overlap. They're just kind of that way on purpose. But they're kind of rough. When I really gripped the knife, it hurt my fingers. So I just took a little bit of sandpaper, 600 grit, I believe, and just rounded those edges a little bit, and it helped. It did wonders for that. So just a heads up, if you get this knife, you may have to make that same modification. It has some jimping up top on the spine, very deep, wide cut jimping, which is pretty functional. You know, kind of slide forward. You know, big jimping usually doesn't work that well, but you can dig your thumb in there, the fat of your thumb, and get a good grip on that. So it's something. The stock of steel is pretty thin, which is really good for self-defense and good for utility. Makes this knife an excellent slicer. Full flat ground blade. Wharncliffe style. You can see this knife is made in the USA. It's an excellent added bonus. H&K, there's the model number. Backside sterile. Now, just real quick, in case you guys didn't know, the H&K licensed knives are manufactured by Benchmade. So you're getting Benchmade quality when you buy this. So that's awesome. But like I said, Wharncliffe style blade. I prefer Wharncliffe for things like this for self-defense. Love the deep finger choil on this. Here again, for self-defense, you're going to want that to keep your hand from sliding forward, causing you harm while you're trying to use this knife to protect yourself. So deep finger choil. You do have a finger groove, little cutout right there for your index finger when gripping this knife. You do have a lanyard hole, small lanyard hole at the bottom. When I say small, you'd be able to fit non-gutted 550 cord through there no problem if you choose to carry a lanyard with this or use a lanyard on this. So perfect grip. Ergonomics are excellent. The handles have a slight palm swell to them, so that's nice. It gives a, you don't really feel it, but it's just nice this here. Reverse grip, excellent. You're able to overlap your thumb to encapsulate the handle completely, which helps because if you're having to use this knife in self-defense, you're stabbing. Yeah, it does have that deep choil, but if you can brace your thumb up against the butt of that handle, it can't go any further than that. So, great ergonomics on this knife. The Canted Design, from my understanding, is that way to kind of mimic the design of a pistol. So you kind of get that muscle memory of that kind of canted shape, but also without getting into it because I'm not intelligent enough to be able to explain it in its entirety. But I'll try to explain it the best way that I can. Mechanically, a knife that is canted forward like this is just better for the purpose of self-defense. The closer the edge is to your target, the better. And just how it's, when you can just grip it normally and the edge is facing outward like that, instead of a lot of knives where you grip it and, you know, like a drop point knife, you have the belly and it's just kind of like that. When you're cutting through a material, what tends to happen is you're kind of cutting away because of the belly of the knife, and just because it's just straight like that, you don't utilize your full wrist range of movement in that slash cut. Whereas when it's canted forward, you come at it and it's almost like a guillotine. So you already come at it at an angle, and when you're cutting, the edge is almost you're almost drawing the material back into your cutting edge. Almost like a hawkbill. Think of this as a Wharncliffe hawkbill style. Because you have that kind of canted shape, like I said, you're almost drawing your cutting media back into the knife. That's the best way I can describe it. And a Wharncliffe style blade, it being a straight edge like so, it is also best for cutting because here again, it doesn't have any kind of belly to it, so you're not cutting and cutting away from your material because the edge is just following its shape. So with a straight edge, you're just cutting and going straight through, like I said, like a guillotine. So that's cool, and the K-Bar TDIs do not offer a Wharncliffe style. The regular clip point style they have, I like, but I just prefer this a little bit more for utility because Wharncliffe is really good for utility for the same reasons I just listed. If you're trying to cut a strap, like a thick plastic strap, the edge isn't rolling away from the strap as you're cutting. It's just cutting straight through. There's nowhere for the material you're cutting, there's nowhere for it to go. It can't follow the path of the blade shape. Also, the added bonus of that cant in utility work is if you're trying to cut something on a flat surface, trying to make a good clean cut, you don't have to bury your knuckles down on the material and try to cant your wrist in a weird way to get the belly of the knife or the tip of the knife into that cutting media. So you're just gripping it normally. It's already angled down, so it's better ergonomically. You use less force when cutting, which is ideal. Let me show you the sheath. The sheath is awesome on this. It could be better, of course. It is not Kydex. It is just a standard molded plastic. Seems thicker than just traditional cheaper plastics, but it does have a steel belt clip with a really nice spring to it. It has that little notch right there that goes underneath your belt so that when you're drawing the knife out of the sheath doesn't come with you, which I've had that issue with a lot of other knives that I've tried to carry for self-defense. And that's no bueno. You don't want that. But I also like that it is a spring clip like so you don't have to take your belt off, feed it through the belt loop, and be on your way. You can just open it up, clip it in, you're good to go. It is reversible, depending on how you want to carry this knife. If you're left or right-handed, you want to carry it on your weak side, or maybe carry it on your strong side as your primary source of self-defense. And you'll be able to carry it in either left or right-hand side, drawing it from forward grip or drawing it from a reverse grip. Retention is okay. Not the greatest. It does have a little bit of slop. But, I've carried this every day for several weeks at work, and I've never had it fall out. It's not going anywhere. But just be cautious of that. Be aware. You can take it off completely and just carry it down into your pocket, or you can put soft loops on it, malice clips, tech locks, maybe with these two holes. So you have that option as well. Very thin profile, which is nice, allows you to carry, and how I carry it is behind the belt, almost like an inside the waistband style. It's very easy to draw. Another added feature of this sheath is that it has this little metal pin in the back right there, which when you put the knife in, it locks down inside of one of those cutouts for the jimping. The price range varies. The average price is about $52. It's about $52. They do make another variation of this. It just came out with kind of a khaki desert sand colored scales and sheath, which looks really good. Black coated blade as well. But yeah, excellent knife. I highly recommend this if you guys are looking into a backup self-defense blade. If you're looking for a weak side carry knife, if you're looking for a good conceal carry utility fixed blade, a primary self-defense blade, because here again, like I said, if you guys are not of age to carry a firearm, or if you just cannot in your location carry it, your destination you can't carry it, whatever, this is an excellent primary option. The Plan D can be easily concealed because it's so small and because of the different mounting options you have. You can really conceal it if you wanted, or wear it open if you wanted, of course, just like a firearm. Right now I have it reverse grip, weak side, or I guess it's not really reverse grip. It's reverse grip if I'm grabbing it with my left hand, but the way it's set up in the reverse grip type of configuration like this is that, yeah, it's reverse grip for my left hand, but if I wanted to, I could also come around and do a cross draw with my right hand. It just depends on how I need to get to it, how I need to access it. But you know, like I said, the purpose of this is to retain your weapon. You know, you're carrying your firearm, you're trying to get to it in a self-defense situation, somebody has your hand pinned, and then what are you going to do? So that way, that's why you carry it weak side, so you can fight that person away from your main line of defense, which is your firearm. So this is really a last-ditch type of knife in that application. I'll give you guys a better view of it on the belt. You see the belt clip there, very easy to attach and to take off. It's almost two-hand. You can do it one-handed, but it's easier with two hands. You'll be able to peel that clip back. You can see where the hook comes away from the belt. You can slide it right off. So it's really easy to take off and to put back on if you want to reposition it real quick. Like I said, it is easier to do this two-handed, but like I said, the sheath is not going anywhere. So when you grab the knife, you're just grabbing the knife. Yeah. Take my pistol. If you wanted to carry it maybe behind your pistol, maybe you can't carry a firearm, and this is your primary line of self-defense. Maybe you're not old enough to carry. This is your primary means of self-defense, and it's going to be good muscle memory for you if you do normally carry. If not, it's good training. But that way you can reach back, grab it, just like with a firearm. I'll show you how that kind of retention pin works. I have it clipped on the outside of the belt, just for the sake of this demonstration, just because of the positioning I have of the clip. But if somebody tries to come up behind you, you're at a store somewhere and you do carry this openly. Somebody comes up behind you, they can't yank and pull it out of the sheath. It has to be a very positive upward motion, or it's mostly an outward motion, which is the way it's designed. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay sharp, and God bless. Sherman 614, peace.